This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the place to go to if you want to set up your own slick-looking website or online store. Well, hello! What an exciting start to the new year. A new year, a brand new exciting camera from Sony, the Alpha 1, which I don't have in my hands. This is the A7 III, but I will be real soon and I'll be doing a video about it. But before then, I want to talk about these two products. Leica and affordable aren't two words that fit in the same sentence, apart from that one just there. But you know what? Cameras aren't really getting more affordable. The Sony A1, Alpha 1, A1 as a TV, is an eye-watering $6,500. Don't get me wrong, it offers a lot of features. The only thing it doesn't do is take the photos for you, but with 30 FPS blackout-free shooting, you don't need to think about a decisive moment. It's practically taking a video, which you just choose the perfect frame later. With a more rudimentary camera like a Leica, you'll still have to capture that decisive moment the old-fashioned way. Jeez, photography is such a chore, isn't it? But at least you'll be paying a lot less than the cost of an Alpha 1 with the SL2-S. At $4,895, a little under £4,000, it's not pocket money for most of us, but it's cheaper than a Canon R5 and similar price to the Nikon Z7 II and the A7S III. Sure, it's not like-for-like comparisons, but in the world of Leica, it's not easy to compare like with like. So what is the SL2-S? Well, if you're one of those who always wants to question what is the base camera beneath the fancy exterior, and it is a fancy exterior in a typically kind of Leica kind of way, the answer is a Panasonic S5. But it's not always as straightforward as that. The megapixel count might be the same, and who knows, maybe the 5-axis stabilization is the same, and I bet it is. But the Leica does offer more in some areas. Take the viewfinder, for example. It is superb. It's 5.7 million dots versus the rather bog standard 2.3 million dots on the S5. Higher magnification too. The rear LCD on the Leica is bigger. It has a top LCD. And the menu systems are just so slickly designed and easy to use with the 3.2-inch touchscreen. It's a lush 2.1 million dot screen with Gorilla Glass for added toughness. The body is a lot more luxe overall, with a bigger, beefier body. It does feel so good in the hands. It is a beautiful product. I mean, compare that to the Panasonic S5, which has about as much flair as a charger. Yes. Although the Panasonic underpinnings are apparent in some areas, the SL2-S does a good job of making it feel vastly different. It does have an amazing 25 FPS burst rate. That is mostly amazing if you like your burst rates without continuous autofocus, which kind of defeats the purpose of it really. With CAF, it comes down to a 5 FPS burst. Video specs seem very similar to the S5, 4K 60, 8-bit 420 with a crop, APS-C, full frame 4K 30, and the footage looks pretty nice. The 4K is oversampled from 6K, which makes the footage look great. You can take 4K 30p 10-bit 422 internally, and really this is Leica's best camera for taking video so far. Let's face it, it's basically Panasonic quality video, but with nicer colours. But as good as it is to share some of the video features on the Panasonic, sadly, it also shares the same focusing system as S5, which I found to be sometimes good, but quite often not. Like the Panasonic, I can't quite pinpoint when it does and when it doesn't work. I didn't even know it was not nailing focus until afterwards, because it doesn't have the tilt screen of the S5. It has the face, eye, animal AF from the S5, but it's just a bit hit and miss sometimes. When you're just taking stills, it works well enough, but when you're using continuous autofocus for video, it's not so hot. Which is a shame. I mean, they've bothered to put full-size HDMI in. The video looks great. It's got plenty of potential for video, but then the same applied to the S5. If you want to approach it purely from a tech point of view, the price and specs might not add up, but if you want to own a camera that feels a bit special in hands, then there's not much that can come close to the SL2-S for this price. Unless you buy an S5 and put it into an SL body. But anyway, I also got my hands on the Sony 35mm f1.4 GM G Master. In many ways, it is the best fast 35 available for Sony. So just go out and buy it now. Forget about the rest of the video. Now honestly, I bought the 35mm f1.4 ZA. I held off for a long time because I hate the weight of Sigmas, and this felt just like a Sigma lens. It's large, heavy, and it makes the balance of the A7 III really front heavy. But I ended up getting one, and now I regret it because this new one, the G Master, is fantastic in my categories. The weight and size is perfect. It's about as reasonable as you can get for 35. That opens up all the way to f1.4. It's short, it's squat. It perhaps doesn't feel quite as solid as a ZA because it uses a bit more plastic in the construction. It's got plastic filter thread on the G Master. In terms of performance, there's not too much difference in focus speed and accuracy between the two. But what really sets them apart is the sharpness on the G Master. It has noticeably better center sharpness when shot wide open. Super crispy details, it's crisper than freshly fried French fries. If sharp is what you're after, the G Master is the one to go for, although in the UK it's £1,500 versus £1,200 for the ZA. In the States, I believe the ZA retails for more than G Master, in which case there's no question which one you should get. It's a no-brainer. But if you're a bit partial to the bokeh and you could get the ZA for cheaper, it's still worth considering because the bokeh looks slightly better. Slightly. Bokeh! It's all down to personal preference, but I prefer the ZAs. Although both produce decent bokeh, I think that ZAs is a little less distracting. Because the GM's bokeh balls are by no means harsh. In fact, they do look quite nice and soft. Just not quite as soft as the ZA. But anyway, I just wanted to highlight these two products because I think they are two best ofs. The Sony 35 1.4 G Master is the best fast 35 for Sony. And the Leica is the best... It's just the best at being Leica, for less. Anyway, before we go, a shout out to Squarespace, the sponsor of this video. If you want to set up your own website, online store, just your own domain, you should check them out. Why? It's super simple to get started and make your next move with Squarespace, with an easy to use interface filled with loads of templates and backed up with 24/7 customer service. You can try it out with a 14-day free trial and get 10% off your first order with this link and discount code. Oh, anyway, as someone's noticed before, you can tell when it's the end of the month because all my videos come out at the same bloody time, and they have right now. This one's just come out minutes after that one. Don't know why I'm pointing at the screen. Anyway, as I said at the end of the video I released just a few minutes ago, things should be getting back on track really soon. I do apologise for all these videos being like this, and I haven't really been focusing too much on the videos, so really sorry. Really, bow down. Really sorry for that. All right, enough of the grovelling, but I've just completed that big project, which has been like, phew, weight off my mind. But now I've got that out of the way, I can get things back on track, and I'm aiming for some exciting things to happen in March. But for now, I just want to say thank you very much for sticking around. It really matters a lot to me. See ya. That's cheesy.